Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Ben. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Hey, Carrie.
Yeah, I
Did you
can
have
hear
any slides or anything? Because I didn't.
you. No, I didn't do any slides.
Okay, yeah. No worries. Fantastic. Yeah, sounds good. Keep it conversational. Right on.
Ben, are you in New York?
I work in New York, but I live in Utah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to, right now, I know my guests can't hear me, but there's some music going, so I'll cut the music, get straight to it. It's great to be here. We are tuned in live on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. Most importantly, we are also in the metaverse or virtual reality or collaborative internet 3D space for spatial design and experiences. There's a lot of names. These concepts have evolved over time. We're just trying to keep up, and as always, around this time every month, we get together to have a special group discussion and have some experts joining us. As per usual, if you want to join us in the studio, you can come to v2.oncyber.io/Kevin Clark. The link is on the LinkedIn events page. We had 116 people RSVP'd here. Many of you tuned in to the stream. Many of you come later to comment and check out the stream, so I appreciate everybody who joins in with their precious time. We'll get right into it. This event is about empowering innovation with virtual hackathons and tech meetups, all about collaborating in virtual spaces. I'm your host, Kevin Clark, and I'm thrilled to be hosting this event. Today, we're going to be gathered here to explore how these virtual environments can foster deeper connections, drive collaborations, and ultimately spark innovation across the tech industry and other industries. This isn't going to be limited to the tech industry. It's all about the evolution of how we communicate. It used to be through text, and now we're doing videos, and now we're immersing into boundless opportunities. This event, as I said, is happening simultaneously on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube and in our virtual studio. So if you want to jump in and explore, you can talk to some of my attendants here, learn more about what we got going on here, about me and my background. You can check out my portfolio if you jump on this teleporter right here. You can jump into this collaboration room and join us for our discussion, where I'll be shortly now. And these couple radars here actually give you the opportunity to either connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you press E on this, I won't do it right now, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. If you want to schedule a meeting with me, you can just click on this radar, and that'll book you right into my calendar. Pretty amazing. No need to jump into a link, and no need to send you anything. Welcome anytime. And without further ado, it's about time that we get into our discussion. Today's discussion, as I said, is going to be around empowering innovation through collaboration in these spaces. So to introduce today's session, I want to introduce you to two amazing, fantastic speakers, Ben Crenshaw and Carrie Tatlinger. I say that right? Tatlinger. Yep. And let me just pull up. Here you are on the stream. We have Ben. Great to see you here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I know you bring a wealth of experience and would love for you to share that with the audience.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kevin. This is an exciting opportunity that's being presented here. But more, it's exciting the way it's being presented virtually in many virtual platforms. Virtual isn't just one platform anymore. It's many and varied. And that's exciting to be part of that. I always say it every day, I love technology. There's always something coming out that I didn't know I needed. And things like this are happen every day, where I see something and I'm like, well, now I have to have that. So fantastic being here. I'm an educator. I was a high school teacher for several years, teaching a cybersecurity class in Utah. I've also worked for several tech companies, just recently Oracle as a vulnerability analyst. And I've now kind of taken another role as combining all of those things to present programs, externships for students with a hybrid component, especially when COVID came out. The company almost had to shut down until we tried this new virtual thing. And I'll tell you what, that worked out beyond belief. And
so you were already collaborating and using these kinds of systems to make a difference.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And these, and we're learning more about the space every day, and I think the space is learning more about companies and what their needs are. And I've kind of identified three strategies to really be successful in this space:
Please tell us.
active learning, community focus, and industry integration. And those have really helped
Interesting.
mold my team. Yeah.
So you said, hold on, I'm gonna teleport into my virtual office right now because you're spiking my interest, you're spiking my curiosity. You said, I'm gonna just throw these things on the wall. You said active.
Yep. Active learning
Active
would be
learning.
the first one. And essentially that's going to be things like for our programs, we have live cyber range challenges like virtual defense, those also include virtual hackathons, and then collaborative coding sessions, things like that.
And using these virtual spaces becomes almost like a container for the vision, for the mission, because especially I think working remotely, you can't all have this, it's hard to have that shared whiteboard that we all have together in one space, and to have, so, this is what you consider as that space of active learning, is having those spaces and those virtual hackathons for those collaborative sessions.
Absolutely. I personally wouldn't be able to work without them. I live in Salt
Truly.
Lake City. I work in New York, and I run programs in California. So
Wow.
I have to run virtually, and
Yes.
so it's super important. But it doesn't. I don't find virtual reality confining. It has absolutely increased manyfold the students and ideas that can be reached.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, just to be able to, as a group, like for instance, in a space like this, to be able to just throw your ideas on a wall.
Yep.
Maybe everyone
And
has pizza at their house, and we have this virtual pizza here that we're going to share.
and that's a really good point when you're just in an in-person meeting. And I don't want to knock that.
Yeah, of course. I
So
love it.
they still have their space, but in an in-person meeting, you're listening to somebody or you're talking to someone.
Truth.
With virtual spaces and these new virtual tech spaces that we're finding ourselves in, you can talk, you can type, you can listen, you can look, search. You just have a more fully rounded experience, which makes learning. It just increases learning, doesn't
Without
it?
a doubt. Without a doubt. I couldn't agree more. And so you haven't just been a tech leader, but you're also passionate about community building and finding those creative ways to bring people together. On a personal note, Ben, you've also come from someone who believes in technology's greatest power lies in the ability to bring people together, to bridge divides. I love that about when I was reading through your profile. And you're really a believer in virtual accessibility and making sure everyone feels that genuine connection even in those digital spaces, while still, keeping that physical opportunity for collaborating as this sort of apex. But we can still reach so much higher if we still build that on a foundation of the same level of connectivity and, personifying these ideas into a 3D model. I think allow us to go beyond words, which we know can only go so far in expressing our ideas. Words always fall short. And so to that extent, where do you see now we see Bitcoin pumping like crazy right now. We're probably on the cusp of a lot more acceptance of these sort of digitally native environments, digital currencies that operate within these virtual spaces, giving more meaning and more value to what we might earn in these spaces. Do you think that we are going to see an evolution in how people perceive their sense of reward by collaborating in these spaces? Like, we're already naturally, organically applying these tools, in the hackathons. What kind of rewards do people get by doing those hackathons, going through those experiences, are they just getting like the intrinsic reward at this point? Is there some sort of other rewards that they are finding that they're coming out with, like the same way we might get a trophy from or medal from doing the Olympics? Like, what are we seeing in that respect?
Really good question. And, and my focus being with education or getting students basically into the industry as fast as possible. The traditional ways just aren't effective as much anymore. And these environments, when we perform our virtual hackathons and or our virtual coffee chats with tech leaders
Totally.
and those types of collaboration, they're really bridging that gap. And if I can, a shameless plug,
Please, yes.
I just published a book earlier this year called Teaching Cyber, Bridging the Gap Between Education and Industry. And I really go into this. It's not just about the awards, it's about how they're presented. In the virtual reality and the virtual field these days, it's more about micro rewards. And so we actually have micro credentials. We have industry certifications that can be awarded online with exams that you take online. And this really speeds up the process of not just learning and training, but of getting that reward, which can equal a higher wage. It can equal life-changing events.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm totally seeing it firsthand, and it's really amazing to be able to see. One of the things that's most exciting to me is that the ability to accomplish these things used to be very limited because, of course, we're talking pre-AI and a lot of the systems and platforms that have been put in place to make this accessible. I think we went through this process of having, the cost of building these virtual worlds. You had to either be a AAA gaming company, and later we saw platforms like Decentraland, for instance, making it a little more accessible. But even now, it's even more so. I mean, we're pretty much getting like the GoDaddy equivalent of creating virtual reality spaces now becoming accessible, where you can teach even middle schoolers, high schoolers, how to start building with these tools, how to start collaborating with these tools. And in fact, they're ahead of us in many respects, already being acclimated to spaces like Roblox, Minecraft, and I just recently have been reading this book called Reality is Broken, and a lot of these topics, that we're discussing, really they really come back to these Second Lifes, these World of Warcrafts, that ultimately, I think the biggest difference that we have now is how interconnected these worlds can be with the physical experience, which, bringing back, is sort of the apex. We want to, seek value retention into this physical world. People don't want to limit that. And, to that respect, I think it'd be great to bring in our next guest here to join us in this discussion. Kerry Tantlinger, who is an expert in his respect and has a background in sales and education, and would love to have you join us in this discussion. Introduce yourself. Thanks for being here with us, Kerry.
Well, thanks for having me on, Kevin. It's great to be with you. And nice meeting you, Ben. So my background is, like you said, in education and building businesses. And I have a software startup that I'm doing now. And we're doing it all virtually. And it's been just incredible. So I have people that I work with in India. I have people in Tucson. I'm in Phoenix. And I have students that go to different universities working on projects. And we're able to connect virtually. We utilize several things: Teams, Zoom, Google Meets, and we whiteboard problems, and my company, we're building a three-dimensional worlds for retail. So
Absolutely.
we are uh, and helping us using that to help build mapping and navigation in fixed areas or buildings that already exist. So kind of combining real world and virtual uh, all into one.
Love that. Merging those experiences. Um, and it's like the beach that's behind you. You know, it's like, I think that's how we have to look at it. We can't have everybody, for instance, you know, I love the idea, you know, for me, and that's why we're doing this across this virtual call into these virtual spaces. You know, it's the same thing as you could see as having a shared document, for instance, on a Google Doc, right? Like, and to that extent, you know, Carrie, do you find success? How do you find success in applying the right balance of tools instead of getting bogged down with the excitement of one particular? Because we love the potential in this space, but people, don't get it confused. We have to be real about how to apply ingredients. Just because we discover a new ingredient doesn't mean we need to overload our dish here with that ingredient. You know, how do you think about, as a salesperson and trying to create value for your customers? How do you think about applying the right mix of ingredients to the respect of, you know, virtual calls, shared documents, 3D spaces? How do you balance those things?
It's I don't know if I really even have viewed it as a balance. I think everything has a slow morphage. It slowly morphs into, you know, maybe even things that you don't even think about at the time. It just starts to develop. Um, you know, I
Totally.
think people are already kind of shopping virtually when they search on Amazon or Target.com or whatever. They already are kind of doing it. And when they get into a store, it's much harder to find items. So kind of combining the two makes a lot of sense. Like, you can just ask your phone to take you to a certain item, and you can actually hold it, test it, and it gives you a super mix of both. Um,
Totally.
and you have some um, ability to decide if you like it or not, or if it's something that will work for you almost immediately,
Totally.
and you don't have to wait for it to be shipped. And so, I mean, that's the kind of problems that we're working on.
Yeah. Ben, have you looked at this sort of integration of AR or sort of merging worlds in that respect? How do you see that? Because one interesting point I think that, you know, a point that many people make, especially in sales, is that customer experience is the greatest driver to the buying experience and the buying decision, right? It's all about the customer experience. So, you know, in your hackathons and the virtual experience that you've been hosting, Ben, like, how has that played into the applications you've been looking at?
Yeah, good question. And you know, dealing with cybersecurity, that's my job. That's what I'm teaching, is protecting that space, and teaching students how to behave in that space. So I think getting them acclimated to this. And the thing is, you did mention, you know, maybe the younger generation already is, but I think that they're kind of like new drivers with just a new driver's license. And I think they still need our guidance, and I think the whole platform needs our guidance so that the students can take over as leaders and create better tools and shape a better future where we can really blend the successes of in-person and virtual. So I
Totally.
think these hackathons being virtual really are just a fantastic way to further that reach.
Totally.
And Kevin, I do need to leave soon, as you
Yes,
mentioned. But
yes.
I just wanted to close my closing thought is, that this platform, virtual, is not just an alternative; it's an accelerator. And we're
Yes.
reaching more students, engaging more professionals, and creating more opportunities. And,
Cheers.
and speaking of, thank you for this opportunity. And it was great
Thank
to
you.
chat with everyone.
Thank you. Absolutely. This is a close-knit, tight group of leaders. A no joke. We really want to get to the real value here and how we can change lives. So thank you for bringing your expertise. Let's connect again soon. I'm sure there's a lot we could do together. And thank you so much for taking the time today. Have a
You
wonderful
bet.
day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brad.
Nice to meet
Thank
you,
you.
Carrie. Feel
Nice
free
to
to
meet
share
you.
my LinkedIn profile, and
Absolutely.
everyone have a
Absolutely.
good week. Bye.
I'll talk to you offline sometime.
Take care, Carrie.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes, it has definitely been really exciting. And for that matter, Carrie, what do you have on the forefront of what you got going on? Is there anything that you want to plug or that you want to bring up? What do you think is the key thing that people don't want to miss out on when it comes to operating in this evolving environment where simply with a drag and drop type interface, even people can craft customer experiences and just start to introduce their customers into their world, their environment, and as Ben said, accelerate towards ultimately realizing the outcomes that they want as a business?
Well, I think there's just so many opportunities. And the biggest one I see is um, there everyone's an individual and they like different things. So if you can have your store be able to morph into whatever your buyer wants and let them shop the way they want to shop, it'll benefit you. It'll benefit your company. It'll benefit them, and and the experience will be different or possibly the same for many people, just depending on
What
how
you
they
want to
like
get out of it.
get out of it. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so the
Maybe in a way
opportunity.
that's the first thing you have to think about is what do you want to get out of it? What is the lever in your business, in your creator brand, in your influencer brand? What is the lever right now that you need to drive? Are you trying to drive customer adoption? Are you trying to drive retention? Are your people coming to your channel but then they're not sticking around? Are people coming to your business but they're not returning for a repeat purchase? Whatever those things are, you can apply that, whether that be creating a game, creating a clubhouse, creating a storefront, creating a collaboration space, hosting creator challenges where at the end you have a hall of fame that all of those people get to be featured in, because a lot of these creator challenges, you start to post what people created, user-generated content that is going viral online.
Yeah.
It gets stuck in a Twitter feed. It gets stuck in an Instagram feed, and it gets lost. And the value that customer feels like they created for their brand, they feel like it goes off in a mist into the dust, right? And
Right.
what we're talking about doing is changing that from being something that gets lost in someone else's platform to having a virtual space where you can permanently house and essentially put your customer on a pedestal, put your fans on a pedestal and say, here's a door that you can walk through and know that you have access to prime real estate in what my brand represents. I think that's why MySpace found its success, because people could give that to their follower, being the top 5 people. For many people who might not remember what I'm talking about out there, might not remember MySpace, the Gen Zers, go look up MySpace. Kind of the key feature was that you could, put on your front page your top 5 friends. I think top 8 friends. I think they, increased that at some point. And I think that allowed a lot of grassroots and a lot of up and coming brands, influencers to break through and make their customers feel absolutely special. And that's what we're seeing reemerge here in these virtual fronts. And, Carrie, thank you so much for joining us in this discussion. Let's come together with some final words and thoughts, and what do you think that people should take action on or research in order to better position themselves for this future?
There's just so many avenues, but get involved in as many online things as you can. There's so much out there, and to spread the word. You can do it virtually or you can do it in person. But the technology is changing almost by the minute. If you notice, almost every morning there's a new AI update in your phone, where your phone is, and your computers. You're able to just do things that you couldn't do the day before. So just start playing with it,
Truth.
um,
Truth.
and just see how it works and what you can do with it, and use your imagination. Don't put guardrails on it. Open it up and see how you can use this in the world.
Truth. Could not have said it better myself. And for that matter, thank you so much for joining us, Carrie. In the last 10 minutes here, we're going to put exactly what Carrie said to the test. Feel free to stick around, Carrie. We're going to quickly show people how they can build their own experience from scratch. Use this tool for your community. If you want to host a hackathon, here's a tool that you can use. All you need to do is go to v2.oncyber.io/studio. You can request access, or you can just go to oncyber.io/studio. There's two versions. Version 1 is a simpler version. You can use templates. Version 2 allows you to edit code. I'm going to jump into version 1. It's very easy. All you have to do once you log in, you're going to see this option in the top left, a little drop-down menu to create a new world. You can create from a template from scratch. Why don't we just start from a template to make it easy? You can decide if you want to host a meeting, a hangout space, if you want to showcase art. They give you some options to start off with, whether it be a white cube blank space, this Wolfgang number 2, a little dark and ominous, and maybe a little, a little bold, may I say, a little X1 futuristic gallery. You can also view more templates, and they can actually, not only can you access other free templates, but they have a bunch of templates that you can access that have been created by expert designers. This is a decentralized platform, so you can very much easily purchase one of these amazingly built platform spaces here. Let's take a look here at this one, City X, the City X gallery here. Let's take a look. And once you access one of these spaces, you can put up your art, you can host meetups in these spaces. There's so much that you can do. It's pretty much no holds bar. If you want to make it rain, if you want to make the sky purple, whatever you want to do, it's pretty much build from here. This looks pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. This could be some sort of virtual storefront. I don't know this person, but they did a pretty great job building this. And I'm gonna click here to show you some of these spaces. So here we just had Halloween, so I have a castle space here that maybe somebody could have used to have a sort of murder mystery party in a virtual space, or Dracula dance party DJ event, and very easily you can just enter the space. You see this little drop down menu on the left side. It's as simple as clicking your little areas here, and see, I can change the background if I want. I can change the sky to be mountain range if I want to make it a little more chill, not so scary. Maybe up in the clouds. That looks pretty cool. I can even add, if I want to make this on water. Ooh, Look at that. We got some water going there. You can add different terrain. So if I want to maybe add a, add this mountain range here. So maybe it's floating in the water around a mountain range. I'm going to change the color of the ground maybe to be something like that. You can also change it to be a different texture. I wanted to make it rusty, sand, all those good things. So once you start to change out the world, you can even add NFTs into the space. That's right, any NFT that you have in your wallet, you can connect your wallet and very easily add the NFT to the space. Upload images, 3D files. So if we want to have a 3D file added here, boom, there we go. We can even add a little animation here to them if it's loaded onto the 3D file. So it's very easy to start building these spaces out. You can add text, welcome home. You can add YouTube videos and live streams. So if I wanted to search, for instance, Kevin on Earth, it's actually going to search directly on YouTube. Let's see, find one of my music videos here. We can add my music video right there, directly into the space. So even if you're an elementary school teacher and you're interested in doing something like this, you can start to build these spaces. I know many of you are very clever. You can add websites, portals to other worlds, interactivity spots, audio streams, the works. And you can just build out your whole space, a game, an experience. With the most advanced version, even get into coding and using TypeScript to be able to create all sorts of gamification. The sky is the limit. All it takes is a purpose. As I said, you want to start from that business outcome, that business goal, and if you're a creator, you're an artist, you're a small business owner, all of the, think of yourself as a business. You got to start with what are the 3 outcomes that are going to drive the most goal, the most outcome, the most success in my business. That could be increasing the number of people signed up to your community, your community's email list, your Discord group, wherever that center of communication is. I always think that is the most important place, having a center of communication, a place where people can come to understand what is the tip of the spear when it comes to your movement. You don't want that to be in the hands of anybody else. You don't want that to be to disappear or to be in control by somebody else. So that's why it's important to have something like a Discord group. Make sure you join the Newman Games Discord group. That's the Discord group that I operate through. If you want to connect with me, my community, Newman Games, make sure you go check it out. Follow us on Twitter. I'm also an Artifact creator, a brand ambassador for Artifact, so make sure to go to follow Artifact on Twitter, but also joining the Discord group. And also these virtual spaces where you can essentially sort of make permanent, let's say, cast into stone your vision without having to go and, get real estate, without having to go to these extents to be able to accomplish that. I want to thank you everybody for tuning in. I want to thank you, Carrie, for joining today. Carrie, anything to add before we sign off for today? I hope we all got something out of this, hearing from the experts, seeing how easy it is to build with these tools. All said and done, I think you have enough to get started. Carrie, any final words?
Be creative. Be curious.
That's right. Be creative. Be curious. I could not have said it better myself. I want everybody to go and jump into, if you have not yet, I have an entire course here around immersive learning. I've just recently opened it up to the first 10 people to sign up. And if you sign up, you're going to get access to a short course that is going to show you how to build your brand using virtual worlds. It is going to give you everything that you need to get started. You can even pay as little as $37 a month to get this thing set up and get started. Everything from how to set up these spaces, how to gamify these spaces, how to accomplish meaningful outcomes for your brand as an influencer, as a business owner. You want to go check this out. You can find this at immersivelearning.teachable.com. If you email me within the next, let's say, by the end of November, I will give you a 25% discount on this course. If you email me with the code word immersive learning, I will give you that discount, okay? So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Carrie, for joining. And everybody, we'll see you next month for our next workshop. Until then, adios.
Adios.